Most of you seem to have read part of the article. And isn't that better than having a quiz? Okay, certainly better than grading a quiz. Okay, am I sharing my screen yet? No.
No.
Okay, this is 47 slides, so we're not going to get through them all today. I know that disappoints you immensely. Okay, that's where the name comes. Ground floor root, beginning of the human tree. Now here's kind of a rough diagram that keeps changing, but she appeared about 4.4 million years ago. Lucy's here, and Ardipithecus became before Lucy. And one of the questions that we ask, well, is was she descended from the apes, or was there a split earlier? And she's actually the answer. As of now, she's the oldest hominid we know of, as of now. Now, she was found in Ethiopia, which is in Africa. But here's the deal. We don't know, as you mentioned, she's on the Awash River. She's also in a place of volcanic activity, which means things would be saved. She could have been elsewhere in Africa or others elsewhere in Africa that haven't been found yet or were not preserved. And you see these dots here. You see Ardipithecus, some of their sites, Australopithecus, we'll talk about them later, and then early humans. But all of these are in an area that, because of volcanic activity, got preserved. And we see here, she was an adult, 4 feet tall, and weighed about 120 pounds, found in Ethiopia. But Houston, we have a problem. There is no direct line yet to the Australopithecus. So you see Artie here, but we really don't have any connections up the ladder. Now, that may be because she died out. It may be there's just a gap that hasn't been discovered, or it may be that Australopithecus landed from Mars. Who knows? But starting with the Australopithecus, we do kind of have a direct line to the many groups in the present, but we don't have a direct line here. Yeah, and Lucy was discovered in 64. 1960, it was simple evolution. Just a straight line, moving smoothly, that there was just one evolvement after another. And it's a view that many people still hold. Somebody in the class asked a great question early on: were there more than one species at once? And yes, we know now there are many, many, many. But it's not so simple. I mean, that's how we used to think. Australopithecus we knew about, we didn't know about the ones before. Then by 1974 with Lucy, we saw some branches beginning to develop. This is very incomplete. But you see, now they know simultaneously that more than one hominid direction. And again, this area is fertile for fossil hunting. And we're going to talk about that because of how the volcanoes preserved things. And the idea began to develop in the 70s, as somebody asked in our class, that there were more than one species simultaneously. We know, for example, that Africanus and Robustus had direct interaction. 1991 gets even better. Now we've put them at the same date and Homo sapien, but they're missing a bunch up here. So let's take a look then. Aha. So here's Artie, and you see a question mark because they're not sure. But then as you see, as we move towards humans, we see certain lines that died out as far as we know, such as robustus. But we also see coming together about the same time, and there's some missing from this chart too, several other species. Then in 2003, when you look at Homo sapiens, you see others at the same time. And then you also see a very important thing here. You see gorillas and chimps. And you see about 7 million years ago, you see the bottom of this? There was a big split between the humans, pure humans, and the apes and chimps. And I'm going to show you that. Is everybody with me so far?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. I know it's a lot. Another look is at the skulls of humans. And again, now you're seeing Dr. Siora's new best friends, the Floresius. Is that how you pronounce it, Lenny?
Yeah, I think that's a good way to pronounce it.
Yeah. Neanderthal. All of these lived. All of these lived at the same time modern humans lived. We know for a fact that modern humans got busy with the Neanderthals, and we think they got busy with them too. So again, species is important, capable of reproducing offspring that could reproduce. We know now that Homo sapiens and Neanderthal for a time were able to do that. And again, you see the evolution here from Artie. You see some dead ends. And then you see all the modern groups together, including us. And this is just a simple timeline. The key here is, see where my mouse is now? That's where the split was. That we didn't develop at all from the chimps. That we're our own separate line. Here's another way to look at it, where the chimps developed on one side about 7 million years ago, and humans on the other side. Now, Artie is the closest one they've found so far to the split. But I assume that at some point, maybe they'll find others here. But what's really clear is that we didn't evolve from the apes. And I'll go through this in more detail on the next slide. But it gets very complicated. And again, the split and the humans coming from a different tree from the apes. Again, what's very important to understand is that the myth that we are evolved from apes, and we're going to look at this next week when we look at the Scopes trial, I guess, and you'll see not something different. Could you see this? It's just another way to show it, but the split between the humans and the apes, shown better here. And again, the key seems to be about 7 million years ago. Okay, we didn't know that even. When did we learn this, Len?
I don't know. I don't remember. It's like they keep adding
Yeah,
over time. I don't know. I wouldn't tell you I know the exact time when
yeah,
each one of these discoveries was made.
yeah. Certainly in graduate school, we evolved from the apes.
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
I think this area up here where Homo erectus sprouted into all of these,
yeah,
that's kind of like newer data.
yeah. And that's less than 2 million years ago.
Yeah.
So there you see
This
this.
is not a bad way of looking at it, actually.
I was telling Dr. Sierra before class, I had a whole other PowerPoint and I deleted it by mistake. So this is all kind of new to me too. But when I was putting it back together, I found more stuff. Okay. So the split shows us a common ancestor that knuckle walking developed in chips after we split from them. And we know that we never knuckle walked. And some of you were talking about. So our common ancestor that didn't walk on knuckles is Artie. Until then was the belief so long that chimps and gorillas are our ancestor. Totally wrong. She did not evolve. Now, how do we put all this together? Radiocarbon dating, which we talked about in the first class, doesn't work at all for this. After 50,000 years ago, is just not any good. So we had to use rock layers. And what's good about this area in Ethiopia is that they've had volcano eruptions, and you have very defined strata. And you can measure the strata. I'll tell you how in a minute. But you see in this cliff how the rocks look differently at different periods. We showed you one of the Grand Canyon earlier where we know when the meteor hit the earth because the strata is different. So each of these strata can be dated and has its own fingerprints. And the way they do it is they get crystals from argon gas that builds up over time. And they could compare the layers above and below to see how much gas is there. And they could come within 50,000 years, which is amazing when we're talking about 4.4 million years ago in terms of accuracy. Okay. And here's what they found. Len, do you want to add to that or?
No, I've always been amazed at this, that it's that precise a number.
Yeah.
That's because argon, the half-life of argon is pretty good, pretty well established.
Yeah.
And that's how they do it. But it's done on a micro level. I mean, we're talking about infinitesimally small amounts of this gas being trapped. So it's quite a scientific accomplishment to do this.
And this is going to be our last slide. I just realized what time it was. When Artie was first discovered, they thought she was on the grasslands, but now in the strata, they found tree seeds. They also found arboreal monkeys, which live in trees. They found giraffes, they found Seora, they found blackberry phone, they found mouse, and they found
my relatives, yeah.
teeth. Oh, I thought, okay. And they found porcupines and mongoose and birds and pigs and bats. So they were able to reconstruct where Artie stood, basically, by all of these things. So we're going to end here and pick this up on Wednesday. Do you want an assignment or not?
No, but I have a
No.
question that you can give me the answer to on Wednesday.
Will you pay me for the answer?
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
No.
Okay, what's the
Okay,
question?
so you said that they found like pigs and mongooses and all of these other animals, right?
Yeah.
My question, I mean, it's like a weird question, I guess, but how come or were they like the same pigs that we have now? Were the pigs
No,
the same 4 million
not-
years ago?
not at
Or are
all.
they some type of variation of evolutionary pigs?
They were more like 7th grade boys. They're pigs. No, they were very different. They were much larger. The mice were actually much smaller. The blackberry had limited range. I'll try to do this. I can't promise. Remember early I gave you the tree of the horse and how it developed from a little tiny thing.
Yeah.
I'll see if I could find some of these for those. That's a great question. And from the teeth that they found in this area, they did realize that she was eating more. Yes, Lisa, we're having class on Wednesday. They realized that she was eating more and more plants and less meat.
They actually did an incredible job.
Yeah, I'm going to show you some films of what they did and how painstaking it was for them to do it.
I think because they were afraid that they were upsetting the apple cart so much.
Yeah.
They really did a lot of research.
Yeah, what they were running against, and I know some of you have classes in a minute, was the Leakey family, who were the most powerful archaeology, paleontology family in the world beyond anything in the field. And they were taking credit, rightly so, for Lucy. And to go against them would be like Princess Meghan going against the royal family. That's a reference to the show last night.
Oh,
Okay. Yeah. And so they were really worried. They knew everybody's reaction would be to discredit it. So they took 11 years before they actually published. Now, Lisa, why did other people think we were not having class on Wednesday?
No, I was just asking the question, just because it was, I saw in the syllabus the thing with the asynchronous class. I was just wondering.
No, we love you guys too much. We couldn't, we would just go into withdrawal if we didn't have class every day. But would you, okay, I'm going to be nice. So we will see everybody on Wednesday. Peace out.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Professor.
Bye.